Many salutations, my friends. Welcome to the video. So, as there are now quite a few videos up on the channel, I think it could use a bit of an explanation for Maplestory the novel, much like I did for Arcane. I would have put this video out sooner, and I did have one about half done, but I didn't like how the script turned out and I got busy doing stuff in real life. But now that I have the chance, I'm trying again. Welcome to the explanation. Now, there are a couple things that we need to do first before we go anywhere. First and foremost, this video will contain major spoilers if you have only been watching the videos and not reading the currently released story on fanfiction.net. If you don't want to have it spoiled for you, stop the video now and go read it. I'll wait. All caught up? Good. On we go. Second, and probably the most important thing, I need to introduce you to the actor providing the voice for Dane in Maplestory the novel. This guy has been cranking out stuff and really doing a great job as the voice for Dane. Put your hands together for Sepia Ant 8071.
Hello, I am Sepia Ant 8071, the voice of Dane from the MSN. To be honest, when I got into voice acting, I wasn't really thinking much about it. It started about 6 years ago when a friend of mine was looking for a couple of voice actors. I figured, hey, well, I got some extra time. I can record myself with a new mic I just bought. So that's how it started. That was just 6 years ago for Halo Machinima. And since then, I did a lot more Halo Machinima series of Minecraft videos, gacha stuff, and other various projects around video, audio, and so on.
Now, with those two important details taken care of, let's get on with the rest. If you would like to know what Maplestory is, click up there. While this video covers Arcane, it does explain what Maplestory the game is. Maplestory the novel, as stated in the title of the written story, is an alternate universe version of Maplestory's storyline. But many story points are very different from the game, so don't think that all of what you learn here is part of the game. There is a little bit that I need to explain before moving forward, mainly the characters of Dane, Rein, and Ariel. The character of Dane is modeled after the character the White Mage from the game Maplestory, though his motivations for studying darkness and what that is are very different from the story that I have written. In the game, the White Mage is trying to make the world a better place. This eventually leads the White Mage to create the Aurora, where like-minded mages come together for this purpose. But the White Mage's findings led him to ultimately fall, becoming the Black Mage, leading him to realize that all must be destroyed for a new and better world to be made. The character of Rein, a central pillar in Sacred Tears, is actually the goddess of time and was captured and held by the mage Arcane. This was for the Black Mage to take her powers over time. However, knowing this would happen, she created her heir and eventual successor, which became the dual character class known as Zero. You first encounter her mention while playing through a set of maps called the Temple of Time, Rein's home. One of the characters within that temple says that Maple World, the world in which Maplestory is set, only exists because Rein is asleep, and that Maple World is her dream. Eventually, your character frees her from Arcarium's grip. And finally, Ariel. In the game, Ariel is only seen as a stage in the boss fight of Pink Bean. She is depicted as a giant statue, arms spread wide as if welcoming or protecting something. I haven't been able to find any other information on who she is or was in the grand scheme of the game's backstory, though I do have a sneaking suspicion that it has something to do with where the game's storyline is currently headed. If any of you out there have information about this character, I would love to know it. Leave a comment about what you know. So with that said, let's get to it. Back in 2010, I think it was, I took a fan-made survey which I believe would say what character class was best suited for you. I honestly can't remember for sure what it was about, but I do remember that one of the questions pertained to you and a buddy being in one of the high-level areas of the game. You only had one health potion between the two of you, and only one of you was going to make it out alive. Again, I can't remember how the question was worded exactly, but that question basically spawned the first version of Maplestory the novel. In it, the two main characters would be sucked into their computer and had to survive through all 200 levels at a time to get spit back into their chairs. This was all to happen within the space of an afternoon, similar to how C.S. Lewis wrote The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. I wanted to write this story to include that very scene where both of them were severely injured, and they only had one health potion to share, and all the enemies were closing in around them. Needless to say, that scene and story never happened. However, one of the characters that was going to be in the story did make it into what is now Season 2, Guardians, as the Guardian Archer, Jenny Price. She would join the cast of 4 other characters for what was originally the first story, The Guardians. These 5 kids would be the eventual and unknowing wielders of potent power coming from 4 out of 5 crystals. One of these crystals was split between 2 characters because of its potency. This story continued for the next couple years, stretching into what I called the Guardians Saga, spanning across what will be Season 3, New Dawn, and what will eventually be split into Seasons 4 and 5, Legends of Osiria. But as I wrote Legends of Osiria, I created story elements that would either need previous setup or some more prevalent hints throughout the story which I wasn't sure how to fit in. I wanted to include the notion that Osiria, or Maple World, only existed as Rein's dream, and the story was leading up to that, but it would have been such a massive shift, introducing a completely different world than what I was working with, and introducing many characters that up to that point didn't exist in either the game or the story. Around this time, I came across an artist on DeviantArt by the name of Koyo-Adorkabowl, who made a picture of the Black Mage and Ariel together. Ariel appears to be mourning over something, while the Black Mage offered some, perhaps, semi-sincere comfort. At the time, it led me to write a short one-shot to pair with that picture, which is featured both as the final battle and the chapter intros for chapters 1 through 4 of Sacred Tears. Eventually, with all the elements in Legends of Osiria needing expanding, I remembered this short, which served as the basis for all of Sacred Tears, handily setting up all the elements I wanted to include in what will eventually be Season 5. As for the crystals featured prominently in Season 2 Guardians, they are actually based around 5 items that can be found and were originally needed in an extremely long quest chain called In Search of the Book of Ancient. Yes, I heard all of your sighs. Those who did complete this quest when you needed to complete it will know what a royal pain in the ass Allcaster was for this. You needed 2 of each of Power, Dex, Wisdom, and Luck crystals to complete this quest, and it was horrifyingly difficult to find the ores to make these crystals. In that quest, these crystals were needed for the Masters of the Adventurer classes to regain some of their lost power in exchange for a piece of a map. I decided to take these crystals and give them a more meaningful purpose. The Power Crystal became the Ruby Crystal, the Dex Crystal became the Emerald Crystal, the Wisdom Crystal became the Amethyst Crystal, and the Luck Crystal became the Pink Quartz. I would do a Pink Diamond, but it would sound a little clunky to call it the Pink Diamond Crystal. When combined with the power of the Dark Crystal, these 5 crystals would give the wielder the power to do just about anything. Similar, I guess, to the Infinity Stones from the MCU. But rather than allowing the wielder control over an aspect of existence on their own, these crystals boost one's abilities and traits. Something else one may note is that of the name Ephania. In the game, Ephania is queen of all fairies, and actually has an implied crush on the White Mage, at least before he fell. I decided to at least borrow this name as an homage to the original character, as it is stated that most, if not all, the fairies in Usoria are gone, save for 2. The Queen of Arantia and Matthias Long's wife, Felicia. Both of these characters are actually part of the game. However, the Queen of Ariant, and in my story called Arantia, says that she is a fairy, but there is quite a bit of doubt weaved into her dialogue, but she isn't the only character that I tweaked. As far as I can tell or remember, Minerva of the game is supposed to be the goddess of Maple World itself, but that seems to have long been forgotten as she was the final prize in a party quest for Orbis, or disproven as now there is a new goddess of Maple World, which to my knowledge has yet to be actually named. In the story, I decided to play with this a little bit, tweaking who Minerva was in the grand scheme of things. One thing to note, however, is the difference between Minerna of Usoria and Minerva of Osiria. Since I decided to make Osiria Rein's dream, I wanted to keep some similar aspects for the real world of Usoria. In looking up some actual history of Minerva the Roman goddess, I found that she was sometimes called Menerwa, but decided to split the middle, so to speak, making it sound familiar, but also different. Thus, Minerna was born. As for Minerva herself, mentioned in Guardians as the creator of Osiria, she isn't actually a goddess, but rather a sylph fairy who became an extremely powerful sage. She and her husband, Chorus the Black, a human, studied magics from all over their original world and from many other worlds as well. They accidentally stumbled onto what would eventually become Osiria, which was in fact the empty world of Rein's dream, the only remnant left after her first world, Old Sap, was destroyed due to the explosion of a huge crystal called the Entelion. Well, that's all I can think of right now that might need to be explained without giving too much away. But if there are any other questions about the story so far, written or in the videos, feel free to leave a comment below. If you don't want to miss a single upload, become a coin in the vault by tapping that subscribe button. If you're looking for more stuff, check out any of my other videos that I have on the channel, and stay on the lookout for more remasters of Maplestory the novel, Arcane, and perhaps even a future theory. But we'll see. So until next time, my friends,